Welcome to my talk about Hydra Bus. It's mainly focused on IoT. So it's Hydra Bus lowering the entry fee to the IoT Bugfest. So what is Hydra Bus? Hydra Bus is an hardware, open source hardware and open source firmware, which is available on GitHub Hydra Bus, and the firmware also. And we have also wiki. So the firmware is licensed on Apache, and the hardware is mainly CC by NC. So what about Hydra firmware? It's an open source embedded source firmware for Hydra Bus hardware, which support also hardware extension like Hydra NFC, Hydra Flash, and Hydra Lincoln, and others also. So the main purpose was to be compatible with Buspirate. It's well-known board. So what are the features? Mainly communication with external world for IoT. So there is mainly serial port, UART or UART. So there is I2C bus, mainly for slow bus, sensors, memories. We have also CAN and lean bus. It's also slow bus sensors, mainly for automotive. And you will see there is a little demo on this one. And we support also SPI bus. It's a well-known bus, mainly it's a fast bus for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, NFC, and so on. Tons of chipsets support it. There is also native SD and SDIO support for microSD, SDIO, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, for example. We have 2 USB bus ports, and there is ADC and DEC, so for analog to digital conversion inside the hardware, and a lot of GPIO. It's the main difference with Buspirate, which have only few, and on the Hydra Bus we have 44. We will see after. And we support also parallel bus, for example, for non-flash. So what to do with an Hydra Bus? So the Hydra Bus is 40 times faster than a Buspirate or an Arduino Uno. And the MCU is a STM32F415. It's 168 MHz with Cortex M4F. So it's very fast for an embedded microcontroller. And there is a lot of I/O, 44. There is also 1 MB flash for code and data. And there is some lot of RAM. And power consumption is quite low, less than 100 milliamps. So the main use case is, so it's to speak with electronic device chipsets like a sensor, like a Wi-Fi module ESP32, like you have on your badge, NFC, non-flash, EEPROM, and so on. We can also speak with Arduino device. It's also another use case is to spy, so man in the middle for electronic device by using SPI, UART, CAN bus, and so on. For example, we will show how to inject command and spy a car with bus CAN, and of course IoT gadgets, which have such. So it's also used to analyze signals, analog or digital, with the help of some protocol. It's an open source protocol, mainly used by SIGROC or PulseView. I will show you some slide after. Also the main it's for reverse engineering. Like you will see some use case with a router, car, RFID, also smart lighting, and so on. So Hydra firmware is like a Linux console, in fact, with embedded firmware. So you have some OS command, as it's based on real-time OS called the ShibiOS. So we can show system memory threads as it's a multi-thread. There is also command for SD card. It's classical commands to have information as we can read or write read file and create directory and so on. There is some commands for ADC DAC, PWM, GPIO, and there is also specific mode for SPI, I2C, UART, JTAG also, 1, 2, and 3 wire protocol, CAN bus, mainly for Hydra CAN, Flash with Hydra Flash its extension, and NFC with Hydra NFC. So bus mode protocol is pretty is similar to Buspirate. In fact, it's the same. So, for example, for SPI I2C, we can check enable with such command, and we can repeat command, and there is delay, and so on. We can write hello with different with string, with value string supported. We can also xdump on different bus, for example, to read or display a xdump, like on Linux. During a block read or write, we can abort also by pressing a button. Like that, we are never locked in anything. So, for example, xdump of SPI EEPROM, we just type such command. So it's quite easy. So now I will speak about the different use cases. So, what is IoT? So, device somehow connected to a smartphone or to the internet, which can be embedded GNU Linux systems or proprietary firmware, which is a SoC or microcontroller with peripheral or sensors, which basically is a bunch of chips communicating with each other. So, primary target is the device firmware. So, main source of vulnerability from there. It's not always accessible from the vendor website, so firmware update can be encrypted. Hidden interface can be available, like serial console. They are the most common, or router, for example. Or there is also debugging interface with a JTAG. So the first use case is a home router. It's a well-known router. So the hard part is to crack open the case. It's the trickiest part. So then we analyze what there is inside. So mainly the main component. For example, there it's a SDRAM. There it's a main CPU, and there it seems we will check what is it. It's interesting. So we read their serial numbers and we search for datasheets. So for example, for the main CPU, it's Ralink, and there is a serial number. We read there. And then we search on internet. So we find it's ADSL2 plus processor for residential gateways. So it's MIPS architecture. There is no flash memory, so the firmware is not inside. It should be inside. It should be elsewhere. So it will simplify the task. As we know, we don't need to attack this at first step. So let's keep it for the moment. So the second chip, which is interesting, is a Winbond. It's a serial flash, in fact. So this one can be erased or programmed by the Hydra bus, for example, and we can also dump it. So it's probable to have a firmware location inside. So let's check the properties of the Winbond. We discover it's a SPI. It uses SPI. So it's serial peripheral interface. So bus topology is very basic. There is 4 wires. There is a clock, a master in, slave out pin, a master out, slave in, and a chip select, slave select. So what we will do, we connect the EEPROM to Hydra bus in order to dump it. So from the datasheet we have all pin, and we know where to connect. From Hydra bus shell, we get the SP pin. We just type show pins, and we know where we need to connect such pin. We wire everything, and then we start to study a bit the protocol of the EEPROM. In fact, it's a flash in order to send and read data and display the XDump of the content. So, for example, it's very easy with the shell. We type SPI, then we have reversed that the command to read sector are like that. And then we want to read a 16 byte. So we write such, and we have a dump of a part of the flash. So now to dump the whole image, we can use Python. So it's very easy to use it. We just need to connect it to the device, AWS device. Then we enter in a specific mode is BBIO. When we are in the specific mode, we can then dump the whole flash, and it's saved in a bin file locally on the PC. So it's very easy, and we have a full dump just with few lines. So now we analyze the image.bin we have, and we see interesting things about the firmware, for example. So now we will check other stuff. Like we can see there is RX1 and TX1. So it seems it could be a UART. So now we analyze those two pins. We connect those two pins to AWS. Then we start a pulse view, and we can. It's just an example. This one is for USB. It's just an example of pulse view, and we can see the logic states and see the UART speed and so on. We can decode logic signal with pulse view. It's very interesting. So now we connect. We search with the variable decoder to find a match. So it requires experience, of course, and test to recognize the protocols. So the next interesting thing is, in this example, we have found its UART. So IDRABUS can act as an USB to UART bridge. So in UART mode, we can use the bridge command when we have configured, and then the serial console is now available on the router, like that. Like we see, we just press enter on the PC, and we have all commands. So now the second case, it's an unspecified board. We cannot say more about it, but it uses a well-known microcontroller. It's a CC2530. It's a Texas Instruments SoC, mainly used for ZigBee and IoT network nodes. So there is debug port available, and we find in datasheet of this one, which are public, it's use custom debugging protocols, and we don't have any CC debugger at end. So we will try to do it with IDRABUS. So now we have all the details of the protocol used by this chip. So you see it's a full reverse. It's from TI documentation. They show everything. So it's a simple two-wire protocol with clock and data. Master drives the clock, so the master is the IDRABUS, and data channel is bidirectional, so it's a bit different with SPI. So we will use two-wire mode, which is supported in the firmware to communicate with the chip, and the aim is to dump the flash memory. So now we have dumped the flash, and like you see, we have reversed the code inside, a part of the code. So now we speak about challenge, where I've used the IDRABUS, and I have designed a specific board for this challenge. It was a Rescue Acme 2 challenge. Maybe some know this well-known challenge. So in that case, I have designed a specific board in order to analyze the current. In fact, that's why I show it there. And also there is a ship whisperer which can be connected there and there. So the interesting part was Wake the Mall challenge. It was very funny. There is all the details on GitHub, Hydrabus page. So in fact, this challenge, like it's called, it's Wake the Mall. So inside we have some pulse to decode, and then we need to find which GPIO to set from D2 to D12. So in fact, we must wait some pulse and to count them, how many, and then we set the corresponding, and then next step, and so on until the end of the game. There is 50 steps in this challenge. So next, it was to solve a secret sauce challenge. So this challenge asked for a password. So the idea was to recover it using a timing attack with the help of the Hydrabus. So in that case, we will develop a specific firmware in order to do a very easy timing attack on the password. So another type of challenge was fault injection, as we can also do that with Hydrabus. So the challenge was just to glitch at the. It was asking a password, and we will do VCC glitch. In fact, it means we cut VCC of the board of the target during a small amount of time, and then it skip instruction. It skip or jump over some instruction, and so we get the flag. So result was Hydrabus plus custom board with a MOSFET in order to power and to glitch the board. But in fact, with the Hydrabus, we can also directly use GPIO when the target don't consume too much milliamp, for example, until 50 milliamps. But in that case, I was using a MOSFET to be sure. So we have wrote specific firmware for that in order to glitch a trigger, and with a lens and an offset. And so we have a good try, for example, when we fail, because it was there was some protection in this one for single fault. So it says ship locked, and after some other test, which we have the flag, and we have just bypassed some instruction to get the flag. So now we will speak about the different shield. As so far we have seen only the Hydrabus, and the good is we can connect some shield on top, on bottom. So the first I have developed was for an NFC. It's plugged on the top. So like you can see, we have an external NFC antenna, and there is a TRF chipset for NFC, which is driven by the Hydrabus. Actual firmware, for example, you can read UID NFC for Vicinity and MIFARE, read data on MIFARE Ultralight. We can even do emulation, even it is in alpha stage. There is also a pretty unique feature, it's a sniffer, in fact, on the protocol. And we can have infinite trace compared to Proxmark 3, for example, which can do only a sniff on limited time, because it's limited by memory. There we have specific trace, real-time trace with UART, and we can also sniff autonomous sniffer. Of course, we see the both side, tag and reader, and we can even save them in microSD. So there we see the infinite trace module. It use FTDI, and then we can stream in real time all the sniff data, and we read them on the specific software. It's open source also. I have developed in Qt, so it works on Windows, Linux, maybe macOS also. I haven't tried. So mainly you see in real time you have infinite trace. So for developer or researcher, it's very interesting as you can analyze any NFC. So we have also, in fact, it's Nicolas Oberly have designed Hydra Flash. It's interesting because we can read 8-byte flash, NAND flash, which are very common in router and everywhere, even in console. So yes, it's just it uses GPIO in Big Bang mode. So in fact, there is a fork of dumb flash which was developed, and it's in Python, and we have about 200 kilobytes per second to read or write any flash. For example, on this one, this case, we detect it. So fun fact, yes, it's when we buy some flash for example on eBay, and they say it's brand new, and we make a dump and we see it's not really new, in fact, as there was a firmware. You see Green Hills, something they have desolder and and sell. So there was no very interesting things except that. So now we will speak about Hydra Lean CAN. It's mainly designed for CAN bus, for automotive, and also Lean. It's pretty, it's not very well known Lean, but it's used also on automotive sometimes, as it's even cheaper than CAN. So this design was made by Sylvain Millier. So it was a contributor of Shield for Hydra bus, we see there. And so the Hydra Lean CAN, thanks to Nicolas Oberly, he has developed the SLCAN support in Linux. And so we can use CAN utils, which is available on Linux. And it's tested on Baldaquar, as we can see there. I will show you a little video. And we see there in action, and we see it blinks. There is also some sound, but so it was pretty fun to do some research on CAN bus. So okay, so now there is also alternative firmwares for Hydra bus, as there is official MicroPython support directly in microcontroller, and it's supported on micropython.org and on the GitHub corresponding. You can also use the Hydra bus as a Blackmagic JTAG probe with JDB server. It's also there is also official support. So the project status is we have a lot of features, as we can do frequency measurement, XDump mode, one-wire mode. We can also now do AVR programming. So for any Arduino, it's very interesting to program them. We now have NAND flash support, of course, and I have just received some board. And CAN with SLCAN support, and so on. So project status is we are close to 1.0 version. Soon, maybe I hope next year. And some mod need to be added to provide full set of features like I2C slave mode and some data sniffers, which are planned for the next version. So the conclusion is Hydra bus will not replace dedicated tools, of course. However, it's nice all-in-one device that can be used for hackers and makers for quick prototyping, development, and hacking, of course. It still requires some technical background to be used efficiently. So big thanks to Black Apps team. And I want to thank also the contributor, Nicolas Oberly, for the amazing work on firmware and even hardware design like Hydra Flash. Sylvain Millier also is another contributor on the hardware part, Hydra Lincoln, and all other contributor in GitHub. So tomorrow we will have a HydraBus workshop in order to have it's at the same hour as today, and there is different activities. There is also a hackathon for some which are interested. If they develop and develop some features and push them, they will have some free HydraBus kits, up to 2. So we will test HydraBus on practice targets. That it will be mainly Arduino, and we will learn a signal analysis, like I've shown with PulseView, and you could even buy yours. It's okay.
Okay, question? No question?
No question.
So thanks to Benjamin Vernou.
Thank you. Thank you very much.